I want to bring you guys to the beginning. To the beginning of the wedding. And I want to explain why I will never, ever, ever work at this venue again. Okay? How do I even start this? Because, I'm just going to go right into it, okay? You guys ready for this story? Picture it, okay? We're at Crystal Springs Resort. It's up in the, I think it's the Kittanini or something mountains. It's way up in North Jersey, okay? You wouldn't even recognize it, right? Like, this is where the ceremony was, okay? Okay, so I'm bring you back to the ceremony. So, me and Santi get there. Regular routine, everything, right? We're setting up. I leave Santi setting up the main system. I set up my ceremony system, right? I got my little J8, my little RCF J8. I got my little table and my little 6-space rack with my mics and everything, right? That's what that represents. And this is right where I set up too. I took this picture way after the ceremony was done. Set this up, right? And then I go back. I set up cocktail hour, and then I go and help Santi set up everything. And then I'm getting done setting everything up, and I got thirsty. So I was like, all right, well, let me, I knew I had a water bottle in the truck, so let me run to the truck, grab my water bottle, and I think there's something else I need to grab, my battery or something like that. So ran to the truck to get my water bottle. On my way to the truck, it started drizzling, right? Just like a light drizzle. And I look up at the sky, and there's like scattered clouds around. I'm like, because I got my MacBook Pro on top of that rack, and obviously everything else there, just chilling. So I bolted to the car, right? And it was such a far distance too. This venue is just like so huge in the mountains on the top of whatever. So bolted to the car, ran. I grabbed my umbrella. I have this umbrella that actually has an attachment that'll hook onto anything. You know what I mean? I'll link it. I don't have it in this description, but in the highlight, it will be in that description. I'll link it if you guys want it. It's a lifesaver. Everybody should have it. I should have linked it in this. My bad. But I had that umbrella, right? That link that actually, it's like a little square rectangle umbrella, and it'll link onto your speaker pole or whatever, right? If you do ceremonies with the Evolve 50s, it's not going to link. We won't be able to clip on that because it's not a speaker pole. But other than that, any other speaker will work. Anyway, I go grab my umbrella. I rush to ceremony. Right, it takes me like 3-4 minutes to run down there. Right. I get there, I put the umbrella up, there's rain droplets all over my shit, but it's not terrible. It's just like a light sprinkle, right? So I just wipe it all off. My laptop's fine, everything. It's the same laptop that I literally stream the show on. So it's like the one that's right in front of me right here, right? I use that for like ceremonies lately. I've just been bringing up Serato, nice and easy, and I use it with my little like mixer thing or whatever. So it stopped drizzling, but there's like little clouds in the distance, whatever, and then it drizzles a little more, but then like that's it. It's just like scattered. It's kind of weird. And we're on top of a mountain, by the way, right? Anyway, so it's not 15, 20 minutes later, right? Ceremony's getting ready to start. So me and Santi go out there, and I look, and there is a monster cloud coming. And you know how you can tell it's raining in the distance, it's pouring in the distance because there's like a mist underneath the cloud, right? You can tell, like if you look out, if you see a cloud, especially if you're on top of a mountain or where you could see 10 miles away or however long it is, right? You can see for miles, right? You're on top of a mountain. You see a huge cloud, and then underneath it's just that mist, right? You could tell it's absolutely pouring over there. I'm like, oh no. And it started drizzling where we're at, and the cloud's coming. And I'm like, oh no. Right? We're like 5 minutes before ceremony, not even. I run over to where they're going to be walking out. And the maitre d' is right there in front. And like he literally has like the bridal party, everything like, lined up behind him. I go up to the maitre d'. Bro, it's going to pour. We got to bring this inside, bro. It's going to pour. He looks at me. He's like, it's going to rain? I'm like, it's going to rain. Look, come here. I brought him out to where my setup is, right over here, so right where you can see my little drawing. I brought him out, and we looked in between those two trees. We looked in between those two trees and saw it. And I said, you see that mist? You see that mist in the cloud? It's pouring over there. It's going to be here. It's going to pour, bro. Like, we got to. He's like, we just got to start now. We just got to start now. And he leaves. I'm like, oh, my God, are you kidding me? I was 99% sure it was going to rain. Like, it was so obvious. You could see it. I'm like, oh no. I was so sure of it that before we even started, I quick switched. I gave Santi my MacBook. I always back up all my ceremony stuff on like as a Spotify playlist, so I can access it like on an iPad, and then I have this little iPod Touch, right? I had my iPod Touch with me. I told Santi, bring my MacBook like inside. Just bring that shit inside now. Save the most expensive thing first. And then I played the ceremony stuff, at least the processional, from the iPod mini. Processional happens. Everybody walks down. The ceremony starts. It starts raining. Just starts raining, right? I'm freaking out. Santi's still putting my laptop away. It's a long walk, right? I'm starting to freak out. Uh-oh. Here it is. It starts raining harder. It was like a movie, like the officiant. It was like a real priest. He started talking fast. Okay, so dearly beloved, we're here to... He started talking all fast and rushing it. I'm like, oh my God. And then downpour. Absolute downpour. I'm sitting there with my little umbrella just blocking everything I can, freaking out. I don't have cheap ceremony shit, okay? My shit is, I have a lot of money and stuff. I'm bugging, right? I don't know what to do. I have like the cover to my rack over the amp of the J-Mix, and then I got the umbrella over like my rack, and then I have two mics out there because they had readers and they're getting poured on. God bless the priest, right? So all right. So then what happened was, obviously it started pouring and all the guests bailed. Never seen this in my life. I've never had a ceremony actually get rained out like this. Like it's always called before, right? Because people, a duck can see if it's going to rain. Anybody can look at a cloud. Wow, that looks like it's going to pour any second, right? It's just common sense. It's just common sense. That's why I've never seen this in my entire career. I've never had an actual ceremony get rained out because we have the technology and the eyes to see that it's going to rain. Okay, it's just common sense. Anyway, the guests bail, then the whole bridal party bails. Everybody runs inside, okay? The priest, God bless his soul, grabs my mic before he runs in. So he saves my mic. My other mic's just sitting out there. I'm freaking out. I can't move because it's raining so hard that my umbrella is not holding on to the pole. So my umbrella is about to fall off. So I have to hold the umbrella, hold everything, and I have to wait for Santi. There's nothing I can do. I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, right? And I'm watching, and in the distance, I could just see one of my beautiful Shure SLX-D Beta 58 mics sitting on a stand just getting poured on. Santi comes out, and then me and him just run everything underneath the closest awning. We couldn't even get in there barely because you have 170 people going into one door entrance, right? So there's a traffic jam of everybody going in there. So they're blocking everything. We're trying to get people out of the way to basically get all our stuff in there, move it in. As a result, I was able to save my case, right? My case didn't get wet at all. I put the cover on, brought it in. My mic was gooch. My mic took it like a champ, like they tend to do. So good for the mic. My RCF J-Mix, on the other hand, took a beating. It took a lot of rain, a ton. Like that was the one thing I kind of just left out there because I know I can bring it to RCF and hopefully they would fix it. To be honest with you, that was in the back of my head. I'm like, all right, well, worst case, if I lose the speaker, hopefully RCF takes care of me or whatever. But yeah, it's because I couldn't save it all. It was just it's a lot to move, right? So that was it. So my speaker screwed up everything. The guy, I'm drying off my shit with a roll of paper towels I found. The maitre d' walks by me, and I'm like, bro, did I not tell you? He doesn't even look at me, just keeps walking. I'm like, I at this point, I almost want to fight this guy. Like, it pissed me off. I was so mad, guys. I was fuming. I was freaking out. I like seriously so pissed off because I literally told him, I'm like, bro, we got to call it now. Look. And he looked at it with me and said, we just got to start now. I'm like, are you stupid? Like, are you stupid? And this is the most beautiful venue. It's in the most beautiful part of New Jersey. Oh my God. Like, it's breathtaking. You're on a mountain overlooking a valley. Like, the venue itself is really nice. It's a beautiful venue, right? Like, I'm not going to lie. It's one of the most beautiful venues in New Jersey, especially like picturesque scenery and everything else. But it's just like with DJs, right? If you take out a loan for 50 grand, you buy the craziest DJ setup in the world, best speakers, coolest furniture, coolest lights, everything. You got the nicest suit on, right? You're a great looking guy. You got like a Brad Pitt jawline. You got it all going for you. But you suck as a DJ. It doesn't matter. We talk about it all the time. You can have the greatest equipment in the world, but if you suck, you suck. Right? Same thing with this venue. Beautiful, most beautiful venue ever. Oh, gorgeous. Everything's great. But if the staff sucks, they suck. They literally suck. Any venue staff ever would never let that happen. Okay? Never. Because you got to understand, look at the couple point of view. They started, it got rained out within a minute, within the first 60 seconds. Some people look at that like a bad omen, you know? I'm sure like there was some tears. I'm sure there was. I felt so bad. Like, can you imagine your wedding day? You're excited. You're on top of Mount, beautiful place, everything. Out of nowhere, just a storm blows through. And it was a passing storm. It poured for 20 minutes and then left. You know? So, like, it's not just like he didn't heed my warning and all that. He's also not looking at it from the couple's point of view. That ceremony got ruined, you know? The sanctity, like the first ceremony, the actual, like you could, you know, some people say it's bad for rain, whatever, or it's good luck or whatever. There's all these sayings, but like it's just, you ruined the ceremony, you know, and it could have been prevented. You could say, listen, we're going to move this inside and that's it. Anyway, I dry off all my shit. I don't know what's going on, right? So then I'm not using this RCF now because it's soaked. So like, you know, it flickered a little bit. I just turned it off right away, and like I'm pretty sure this thing's screwed, and I'm definitely not going to risk it, right, for the biscuit if they're doing the ceremony outside again. So I run to my car and I take a walk to cool my ass off anyway. I run to my car and I get my backup speaker. I bring it in, and then when I bring it in, I run into another guy, and they're like, "Hey, you gonna have a microphone in for the ballroom?" And then I lost it. I'm like, microphone for the ballroom? Oh, that's cool. Thanks for the communication that the ceremony's moving to the ballroom. You know that thing, communication, just like I communicated to your other guy that it was going to rain right before it rained and he didn't listen to me. You know, that whole thing called communication. Thanks for letting me know. I would have grabbed the speaker, right? And I freaked out. And I'm like, you guys are going to owe me a new speaker, and if we're staying overtime, you're paying for it. And he's just like, well, okay, but do you have a mic for the officiant in the ballroom? And he just repeated the question. And I walked away. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my shit. So evidently they moved the ceremony to the ballroom. Okay, obviously that's my main setup, right? Put the mic out there. Ceremony went great. Officiant was great. Made some jokes about it. Everything smoothed it all over. You know, they had a great little ceremony. They got married. Then they went to cocktail hour, and I talked. And then afterwards, I talked to started the cocktail hour music, and then I went and found the guy. Okay, I was like, listen, bro, you know damn well I told you it was gonna rain. You didn't listen to me. You ruined that ceremony, and now what? Tell me, now what? And he was like, I know. He didn't say I'm sorry. He's just like, I know. And he looked down. That was it. No one ever said sorry to me, okay? And I said, number one, okay, you guys, if there's anything wrong with that speaker, you're going to owe me a new speaker. Number two, are we staying overtime? He's like, yeah, we're extending everything an hour. So now it's going to be, so instead of the wedding ending at 10, it's ending at 11. I'm like, all right, well, you guys owe me for overtime. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, DJs, but there's nothing I could have done. There's absolutely nothing I could have done. Like when he said, hey, we're just going to start the ceremony now, when I showed him the clouds, I had two options. I either do the ceremony and ruin my shit, or I don't do the ceremony, move all my stuff inside, or move my stuff like, you know, like there's nowhere to move my shit. There was nowhere. So then I don't do the ceremony. I protest the ceremony and move everything inside. And then I don't provide my service. I don't provide a mic. I don't provide the music. And then if the 1% chance happened and it didn't rain, you know, even if it didn't, like it's still stress. It's like, wow, we're not even, I don't even have a walkout song. Like there was no option for me not to do the ceremony. If the ceremonies happen, I have to, right? I just have to. So he put my back against the wall. So you owe me. So I said, listen, I want to talk to your manager. This is a big resort. It's a big place, right? It's big money in this place, okay? Who's your boss? Who's your boss? I want to talk to he or she. Who is your boss? So then he comes up to me with a phone. And he says, this is Sarah. This is our events coordinator, director, whatever her thing was. I'm so petty, I took notes on this conversation. But, like, I just wanted to remember because I couldn't believe what happened. I just wanted to remember. So let me bring up these notes real quick. Oh, God. So she gets on the phone. I'm like, hello? I'm like, hi, this is Nick. She's like, hi, this is Sarah. She introduced herself, and then she just went off. Didn't ask nothing. Didn't ask me nothing. Just started talking. just started talking policy. So we can't help the rain. The rain is natural causes, just so you know. So you are responsible for everything. We cannot pay for anything, blah, blah, blah. Just starts going off. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, Sarah, ma'am. Like, had to stop her from talking. Can I tell you my side of the story? I told her that side of the story. Said, the resort's on a mountain. I saw it come and I showed him, right? I told him that side of the story. She's like, then this is her response, right? First she said, well, did you know it was going to rain an hour before? Because that's when we usually call it. Hour before? No, it was a pop-up shower. Things like that happen. It's called nature, okay? We saw it happening. You call ceremonies right before the ceremony all the time. I've seen it happen a million times, right? That was her first response. Second response, if you thought it was going to rain, you could have just moved your speaker underneath the awning. Wrong, because underneath the only awning there was, that's literally where they come out, right? And the ceremony was starting 30 seconds prior. There was no time to move. There's literally no time to move. And I said, my speaker's too big. I can't just move that. Like, you know how hard that would have been to move real quick? Then she says, I've been to thousands of weddings. I know what DJ speakers look like. You could have moved it. Now I'm getting more mad. Like, yo. I'm getting even more mad, okay? Then I told her, no, I couldn't. You don't know what my setup looks like, okay? Then she says, well, don't you have insurance? I'm like, why would I make an insurance claim for something that wasn't my fault? What do you mean? It's a $1,500 speaker, too. Like, I'll just pay for it, whatever. But, like, why would I make an insurance claim for that? And then I was like, well, what about, I can't insurance claim the extra hour that you caused me? And she said, well, you can leave early. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just going to pack up my stuff at 10 o'clock and leave an hour before the wedding's done. Because knowing how bad this staff is, I was assuming that dinner was going to take forever. And it did, okay? So I just ended the conversation. I was like, listen, I told her, I started getting, after she said that, my voice, every comment, everything, every answer she had for me, I got a little louder. Like, I didn't yell at her, but like, you know how I talk loud. I just talk loud, right? So I went from just like, hi, Sarah, talking like this, right? To like, I'm getting excited. Then she said to me, right? You need to calm down, sir. You still have a wedding to DJ. You sound really upset. Yo, I was so mad. I was like, calm down. And listen, I'm going to apologize publicly to my fiance. All right. Anytime I've ever told you to calm down, I understand now. Okay. Because like, whoa, that was the worst thing she could have ever said. I was like, every wedding's the Super Bowl. Don't you worry about me. I will crush this wedding. That's not the point. The point is, I started freaking out. How are you going to tell me I'm not going to do my job right? Right. And so I know a lot of what she brought up too. She did bring up, she said like, well, the couple probably wanted to have the ceremony no matter what and blah, blah, blah. And that's probably what a lot of you guys are thinking, right? Well, did the couple force the venue to just do it, to just go through with it, risk it for the biscuit, right? And that was the only thing in the back of my head that like could have theoretically happened. And that's the reason why that this all happened. Okay. I get that. I totally acknowledge that. But I know my couple and I know they're really laid back. And I didn't think it was possible, but I didn't know for sure. Later on during the wedding, I asked them, I said, hey, man, that was crazy with ceremony. So what happened? What happened with ceremony? That's all I said. Like, what happened? They told me casually, because he didn't know why I was asking, whatever. He doesn't know anything, and I'm going to get to that. Like the groom, I'll talk to the groom. The groom didn't know nothing. Bride didn't know nothing, right? But they said, well, we're getting ready to, it was like an hour before ceremony, and they said, listen, I think there's rain in the forecast, but we have like a half-hour window according to the radar where we can have the ceremony. So if you're trying to do it in that half-hour window, we could do it then. And then the couple said, okay, yeah, that's cool if we have a half-hour window. And that was it. So the venue literally recommended, okay, that they have this window, you could do the ceremony then, and they said yes, and then they agreed, okay? So 100% venue's fault. That's what they told the couple, and then I warned them and I showed them, and they still went through with it, and the whole thing got rained out. On top of that, another reason why I know it was completely the venue's fault, not only did they get the extra hour for free, because I asked them, I bet you're giving them the hour for free, right? Then you got to pay me, because you know what I mean? So not only did they get the extra hour for free because it was their negligence, they also gave them a free after party. I played the last song. They took the couple to the side. And I'm like, why would they take the couple to the side on the last song? That's weird. Then he came up to me and said, hey, I'm giving them a free after party in the cocktail hour room. And they got a free after party to smooth things over because they know they were in the wrong. And they were. They ruined that ceremony. and they probably ruined my speaker, and they definitely cost me an extra hour because I obviously wasn't going to ask the couple. And that brings me to the tips here. So just want to talk to you guys about the number one rule of wedding drama, okay? When this shit happens, something similar like this happens, you do not, under any circumstance, involve the couple. You don't tell them. You don't say a word. It's their wedding day. Every wedding is the Super Bowl. I don't care, even if it was the couple's fault. I don't care what I have the job to do. And the last thing I want to do is stress them out in any way, shape, or form, take them away from this big, expensive wedding that they paid for. So I didn't mention a thing. When I talked to them, I was smiles, happy, excited, did my job just like I normally did. It was a great wedding, super fun crowd, everything. I kept it moving, okay? There's no reason to mention to them what happened. Your venue, I tried to tell them. I didn't even do that, right? And listen, it wouldn't have happened if they would have listened to me. I told the venue. I literally told them right before. Didn't even get into that. Why? Why should I get into that? For what? Just to stress them out so they can feel empowered to have to talk to them, the venue, or like deal with drama. You don't want any of that. So that's the number one rule. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. I was so mad, okay? You have no idea. I was literally fuming, but you got to just push it down. You got to push it down for the wedding, for the couple. You have a job to do and you got to keep it pushing. So never involve the couple in the drama, and I realize talking about this publicly, if they see this after the fact, and you're seeing this now, like, I wanted you to have a great time at the wedding and I don't want you to know about any of this stuff. And I'm sure you're glad I did that, and it was a fun ass wedding and they had a great time. They went to the after party after, it was great. It worked out great. Everything was great. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. But Crystal Springs Resort owes me at least, okay, for the hour over. And possibly the speaker. I'm going to test it out later today, and it'll be due day, right? And play some shit out of it, make sure it's good. Because that was just ridiculous. I literally couldn't comprehend that happened. And honestly, if in the future, if a couple asks me, if I get a meeting or someone, requests to have me DJ and they're at that venue, I'm just going to say, no, they owe me money and I won't DJ there. And that's it. It's it's a very short list of venues I genuinely won't work at, like no matter who it is. Sorry, I won't work at your venue and that's it. And that's all I can do. A lot of people that I talked to said I could sue for sure, but I'm not, I'm old school. I'm not I don't go sue. I don't feel like dealing with all that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sue. I just noted, right? Now I know. And then I'm going to, I'll talk about it here and I'll spread it around and that's it. So if you're a couple getting engaged, don't go to that place. Okay. It's beautiful, but it's terribly ran. Right. And I'm not just talking about, there's a lot of other things they did wrong, but it's irrelevant. I'm only going to talk about the stuff that that affected me. And that was it. Crazy. And I've never had that happen. Never. First time, people. Insane stuff.